Hello, I'm Chris, this is Gross Models. This is issue number 13 of the Terminator, build the T800 from Hachette and Studio Canal. Right, in this issue we have more neck action going on. We've got the other half of the internal neck piece, some bits of finger, which we've got there as well, some plastic, which is the covering pieces for the neck, and as ever a bag of screws. So let's get rid of the plastic, nothing else in there at all. Put things to one side so we can see what we're doing and know what we're up to. This obviously is plastic, as is that. The finger is metallic, so we've got metal finger action, and let's see what we're doing. Starting here, we are assembling the neck and the right finger components. So they're not even giving us a complete finger this time, we're just getting a partial finger. So you'll also need the lower jaw assembly, neck joints and things from a couple of issues ago. So let's have a look and see what we're doing. Looks like lots of things going on in this one. So we're placing the neck part and assembly, constructed in issue 11, on the work surface as shown. Now that's that bit. Is it that bit? Is that 1111? It's not 1111 that they're telling us, no, it's 1311 because it's issue 13. So yeah, from a couple of issues ago we've got that and we got that. Note the screw socket circled in yellow on the underside. Yeah, there's two screw holes there. Yeah, it's fine. With the parts shown above, slide part under the neck part. I've got to get that the right way round, obviously. So that's going in there like that. That's cool. So there's obviously a hole there that lines up with that there. You can actually feel it locate in to there. A little bit of movement there, which is obviously for tilting the head or the neck a little bit. Engage. You'll need a screw for the next step. So that's, yeah, they've given us a pack of screws which are all the same. So I would expect, as ever, there's going to be one spare in that, which I shall keep aside for safekeeping and never actually use by the looks of it. If it's anything similar to any other part work that I've ever done, you end up with hundreds of screws, well, about 100 screws actually, according, I counted up the Falcon screws and the R2 screws, and yeah, just over 100. So we're putting that screw in there, which is going to hold it together. Let's grab my screwdriver, because that's always useful when you're putting in a screw. Let's get that in there. This is obviously a metal screw going into plastic, so you have to be careful you get it lined up properly and don't play around with it too much, because it might, you know, strip it and not be good. So I'm not going to tighten that up in there. It says fully tightened to secure the parts together, but I don't want to do that until I get other things put together, because I never like fully tightening one single screw. So we're getting the head assembly. Let's get it the same way around as it is in the picture, which is there. It looks like we're dealing with that on the other end. Oh, really? I thought the neck was the other way up. So that is going in there, and that's not actually got any movement to it, but the bit above obviously has the ball joint there. So that's going in there, and we're putting a screw through there as well. Cool. Now this post I think is metal, if I remember constructing it. It might not be. It's difficult to tell with some of these parts now. The main body obviously is. No, this bit isn't. This is plastic again. So the joints are sort of plastic, but the external framework is metal. So that goes on there, and we'll tighten that down again a bit, but not fully. So I've got a little bit of wiggle room there, and obviously down the bottom there as well. Turn the parts over, and we're putting the other side on. So exactly the same, but from the other side. Getting that lined up there, you can feel that click into place. That's why I like that little bit of wiggle room. And we're going to use two more screws to hold that in place. And once I've got this fourth screw in place there, then I'm going to be happy going through and tightening them up, because I know it all fits together. Don't have to play around with anything to get it to line up. And say, going into plastic, you want to be careful anyway, so tighten it, but not over tighten it. Tighten it so it bites but doesn't actually start trying to strip the plastic away from the inside piece. It feels like I've been saying that a lot, but it's definitely worth remembering. Get that one in there as well. I do need to get a better screwdriver set. I'll have a look through. There we go. So that's, again, got not really any movement, but a little bit of movement there. Strange. Don't know that should have movement. Obviously the jaw moves and the head bit moves on there. I think that's not tightened up. There's a little bit of, a lot of sideways movement there. So no, I've not tightened that up nearly enough. I felt like that was getting tight, but obviously wasn't. So let's continue. I'm definitely going to need a bigger screwdriver for this though. Let's feel. There's movement on that side. Not really any movement on that side now. So that's probably as tight as that side goes. Let's see about the top. Still going in, still going in, still going. That's a stop there. Okay, that's good. Happy with that then. So let's do the same the other side. Tighter than I'm happy doing it, but if that's as tight as it has to go, it obviously has to go that tight. There we go. That's that, and that side as well. Does say fully tighten, it's not wrong. So there we go, let's see. Yeah, that's not coming apart at all now. That's happier, tighter. Still that little bit of movement there, but that's only backwards and forwards as it's sort of hinged. And obviously the big bit is still hinged on there. So that's cool. Turn the page over. Turn it over. Oh, I've jumped ahead. I've put in the bits. I thought it said to turn it over and put that in, but it didn't really mean that. It meant turn it around rather than turn it over, but there we go. Thick super glue to each small pins. No, you don't need to put the glue in the pins. The screws hold that down finely enough. That's not a problem. Nothing needs to be glued in there. Now, there is a seam down the front of the neck here. Now, people on Facebook groups have been getting irate about the seam line down here, and also defending the seam line down here. Apparently on some versions of the working model there was a seam line just like this. This is actually camera accurate to one particular working model, apparently to do with the animatronic bits that they needed access to and needed to open it up and get to. The back obviously is well disguised, you don't need to worry about that at all. Now the front one, yes, it's possible to fill the seam and finish it off and make it look the same again, but the chroming, I don't think you'll ever get the chroming looking just the same again. Now obviously we've already had trouble with the chroming on the metal parts not matching, but this is actually a pretty good match. So once it's been weathered a little bit, I'm happy to leave the seam line, at least at the moment. We'll see down the line, but I don't think I need to do anything about that. It's there, but it was there in some of the film. So yeah, I'm going to leave that at least for now, and we'll go on from there. Now the plates look like that when they're fixed in position. So we're doing the plates on here, carefully removing the net plates from their framework, smooth any rough edges with fine sandpaper. Take the right neck plates, which fit on the right side of the neck. Who'd have guessed it? Now they're cunningly labelled R and L, so I shall use a pair of modelling nippers to remove one of these. Then we'll have a look. Yeah, there's a little rough edge, but not too bad. So I'm just going to use a sanding stick, which is like sandpaper already conveniently. Now you can't really polish and sand it down too much because it is obviously a chromed finish and you don't want to remove that chroming, but it's also on the inside, which is going to be inside there, so that's going to fit on there like that. And that, yeah, the back one's a little bit more visible, so I need to do a little bit more with the back there. But again, once it's weathered, that will be covering that indeed a touch. So yeah, it says push fit. It doesn't say to glue that in place, and I'm actually quite happy with how that's gone in. So I won't be gluing those in place. I'll get the other three off, sanded down and attached. There's no point in filming doing that. And then we'll come back and see what we're going to do with the finger. There you go, all put in. Now it's quite a good testament to how good the plating on this is, in that when I put them on I was thinking that's quite a good match for the metal around it, and it's not metal around it, it's plastic around it. So yeah, I mean the metal on here is obviously the jaw and the base of the head. All of this is actually plastic, including this bottom bit, but you don't know, you can't tell. The texture of the finish is as close to identical as you're going to get. So yeah, it would be nice if it was all metal, but it would be stupidly heavy. So the fact that they're making some bits out of plastic, but they're making it look very close to the metal, I'm happy with. So that's the jaw assembly. Obviously this is the bit that's going to be motorized, but you can still move the whole thing around there. You can look up and down a bit and move around. So that's that done. We're moving now onto the finger. Now, as you know, if you've watched my previous build, the fingers were a little bit loose. So what I and many other people have been doing has been to modify the pins to make them grip a little bit better. Now, it seems that Hachette have heard the screams of outrage and done something about it. They've actually changed the way that the pins work. So the pin itself is actually a lot thinner now, but the hole in there I think is the same size. They've got a plastic, like a nylon tube that fits through. So according to their instructional diagram, we've got obviously the fingertip, we've got the little bit that goes there, and then the big bit that goes there, and from the top the pin goes through the tube, which is a nice tight fit. Then it goes through here, which is a nice tight fit, and then it goes through there, which is also, as you might have guessed, a nice tight fit. And then we've got obviously the plug that goes on the end there, same as normal, same as all the previous ones, although that isn't such a good fit. So that's going to need a little temperature glue on there, as it does indeed say. So let's get a little touch of glue out. Again, I'm just using a little plastic tray to put the glue on, and I'm going to carefully, it says put it on there, but I'm actually going to put it in the hole, rather than trying to move a bit that's got glue all over it into the hole. I'd rather put the glue in the hole and then play with a bit that hasn't got glue on it. So that goes on there, and that will glue that bit together, and that gives us a nice stiff but movable finger. So I'm happy with that. This bit again is not as tight as I would hope, so the glue comes into play again, and this time just going to go around there a little bit just to glue the fingertip in place. So that's the finger, or the fingertip. Anyway, there's the rest of the finger obviously to go before it'll attach to the hand. We're not doing that this time. We've got the head assembly done there, or the lower jaw anyway, and that is, as it says, stage complete. Let's have a flick through the rest of the magazine. We're talking about The Thing, sci-fi cinema legend. No robots or anything in there at all. I think they're just randomly picking films that someone in the studio likes or something. I'm not sure. Good film, but yeah, not roboty at all. 1950s Vision of the Future Part 2. And as ever, there will be back in next week's issue. More of the forearm, and add another finger to the right hand. So this is the other half of the finger. Some forearm bits, longer screws. That's 3 pins, 3 tubes. So that's finish off that finger, and obviously that's to do with these bits wherever they fit. We'll find that out soon, next time. That was issue 13. I have issue 14. I shall be doing that next, and it will be available to watch in the next couple of days. So stick around, watch that, catch up on any others, and thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.